What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Nintendo continues to build up 2026 with another big game release date reveal and actually bringing into question that variable pricing again, but we'll go over all of that here today. Also, we're going to be talking about the Steam Machine, sort of. See, because now there's a Steam Machine alternative that's been revealed with pricing and specifications that kind of, I guess, puts into context what we can expect out of that Steam Machine. And we'll also be talking about Microsoft Game Pass, as the price went down yesterday. Well, it seems like they could have plans for some other things, including options as to what exactly you want in your subscription, but we'll go over all of that and more. Guys, if you enjoyed these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. Guys, we're every weekday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, going over the world of gaming news, keeping you up to date. So even if you don't get a notification in the morning, just know there's probably a video here to check out. And we're going to start today with Toei, like the Japanese entertainment company, because they are creating their own game publishing arm, and we can see this is over on gamesindustry.biz, saying the company aims to make its games business a new pillar alongside its film, television, and events division. They'll be initially releasing titles on Steam, entering the PC market. They do have plans to expand to home consoles, the Switch, PlayStation, and the Xbox. Here's the thing, we don't have to wait long to see their first game reveal. That'll be happening Friday, April 24th. So, okay, well, I guess we get an idea there as to what their approach here is, but the thing is, they won't be using any of their existing IPs. So think of Dragon Ball, One Piece, and others. Apparently, this is all going to be new IPs that they're working to publish. So, just kind of random that I saw that pop up. I mean, you think of Toei with entertainment, and sure, but Toei Games now. So I'm curious exactly what they have in store for everyone, and I guess we'll find out this Friday with their first reveal. Also, Kojima was making the rounds yesterday and posting up all kinds of images to chronicle his travels, and well, one trip had to do with Microsoft, where he decided to go to their offices, and he's looking around, of course, taking a picture with Master Chief, because, I mean, we did the poll for Halo and Gears, we're gonna have to go back to that. You gotta take a picture with Master Chief when you go there. But he also took a picture with Matt Booty and Asha Sharma, and he was holding something, which you can see. It's like a little container, and it says Xbox for Kojima. So initially, people looked at this and said, oh, okay, it's a fun picture, nice little photo opportunity there. But now everyone's looking at that container like, hold on a minute, is that an Xbox Helix dev kit? I mean, you feel like he would probably travel there to pick it up personally, as this stuff would be highly confidential, NDAs all over the place, sure. That's kind of a smaller container than I would expect for a dev kit like that, so obviously we don't know if that's what's actually in that box, but that would be interesting if that were the case. Still though, Kojima made the rounds, also went to Valve. At the time of this recording, seems to be still posting images, so who knows where else he went, but at least for now we know he picked something up while he was at Xbox. Oh, and Bumble fans seem to have something to look forward to, because, well, this is from Argonaut Games, and they say, right about now, Bumble is officially your new wholesome 420 mascot, and we will not be taking further questions at this time. But stay tuned and be sure to follow us for forthcoming news and announcements. So, I mean, this was back in the day on the N64, it came out in 1998 or something. It was always one that I would see up on the shelves when you're stocking the N64 games. I always remember seeing that like cybernetic bee on like the sticker for the cartridge. I think for a while we even had the box itself. This was not a game that I got really into way back then during the N64 era. Still though, I don't know, why not? So many things have made a comeback now. Sure, why not do a remaster or like light remake of Bumble and just see what happens? I mean, I'm curious. I guess they would play around with some of the controls, visuals, and stuff, and we'll see what Bumble will look like here soon enough. Apparently in 2026, thanks to Argonaut Games. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Nintendo and the Switch 2 with their summer lineup, as they have now added on with Splatoon Raiders. And we were kind of expecting this because Nate had mentioned during his podcast that Splatoon Raiders would be coming out during the summer. And here we are now with a July 23rd release date. This revealed by Nintendo in an entire 3-minute or so trailer, and just features overview and kind of explain the game a bit more, and you can see some of it here. Now, with that, of course, it is Switch 2 only. There are people who are already like, oh, here's Nintendo. Look at them making an exclusive game, so I buy the new system. It's like, yeah, Nintendo is very traditional in many different ways, and this is absolutely one of them. They make exclusive games for their hardware to get you to buy the hardware. It's worked since like the dawn of gaming consoles, and they continue doing it. Also, the Switch 1 is, I mean, it's more than 9 years old. I don't know. Look, the Switch 2 is out, and at this time, $450. You look around, I mean, it's kind of on the lower end now, as crazy as that sounds. Anyway, it is a single-player focused game. I do want to point out, though, there will be multiplayer, all right? This is kind of like a PvE where you're fighting different hordes of enemies, and it just reminds me of Salmon Run immediately as I'm seeing them show this off, and I guess just more built out because it didn't look like it was necessarily rounds that you were going through, as you were also exploring a map that they pulled up, and you were finding these treasures that were kind of brought up on your HUD here, and I assume you're going to go around, find different items and equipables for your character, and continuing building out and getting stronger and stronger. And I mentioned there's multiplayer. You can play local wireless or online with up to 4 people. So it looks like it's 1 person per system. If you can, I guess, get together with a bunch of friends and you can link up the Switch 2 systems that way and play, or yeah, just go online and play that way. And of course you can use game chat, and that should all, I assume, work together pretty well. They did show off amiibos because why not? I guess we'll see pricing and stuff on that as well. But speaking of pricing, get this, the variable pricing thing, which we've discussed, that we have one game with Yoshi that's coming up here in May, and that's 60 digitally, 70 physically. So we needed more examples. This game is $50 digital, $60 physical, and it's all on the cartridge. So this will not be a game that is like the game keycard thing. I know Pacopia had some people going through it a bit and a little concerned, but Nintendo has not shown that they are going to do game keycards like at all with first-party games that are wholly theirs. Of course, with Pacopia, they were dealing with the Pokemon Company and stuff, so who knows there. But in this case, 50 digital, 60 physical. And I'll admit, that looks kind of like, hey, the digital games are indeed cheaper. And that's the thing, we were waiting for more information, more examples, to really get an idea as to which way Nintendo really went with this, since Yoshi was already being discussed. Is that a $60 or $70 game baseline? $50 digitally for this, I mean, I guess you can then also go into with lowered expectations of, okay, this isn't like a massive Splatoon. It's not Splatoon 4, and we know that. It's called Splatoon Raiders, but still, you kind of think of Nintendo like, oh, they would try to get maybe $60 for this thing. So $50 digitally. Now I am in the mindset of, okay, so the next Fire Emblem, I'm expecting that game to be $60 digitally now, all right? Because that would then go in line with what I'm seeing here with Splatoon Raiders, as opposed to 70 digital, 80 physical. Now, could definitely see that later on with something like the next big Legend of Zelda game or the 3D Mario, as those are kind of on that sort of top rung, the games that do have a lot of money thrown at them in development to create their own big AAA games. But hey, I mean, this actually looks good. Oh, well, depends. I guess if you're someone who really likes the physical games, clearly this is going to push people in the direction of just buying all digital going forward, and then maybe Nintendo leans into it further with an all-digital Switch 2. That's a conversation for another day. For now, though, if you're someone who just buys digital Switch 2 games, yeah, it looks like you're just going to get games cheaper going forward, and that is a good thing. So I guess look towards July for Splatoon Raiders, but now, I mean, don't have much longer for the Star Fox reveal, and this does go in line with what Nate said. Splatoon Raiders setting up for July, or summer, here it is in July. So now, maybe the next couple of days, even next week, we see Star Fox get revealed for that June release. Next up, let's talk about the Steam machine with an alternative or competitor that's popped up, and I think it at least gives us an idea as to where we're sitting with some of the pricing that people are expecting for the Steam machine, because this system that we're going to go over is much more capable, and it's coming in at a price point that some are kind of throwing at the wall for the Steam machine, sort of here. So let's take a look. We can head over to their website here, and this is the Planix. And so this, as you can see, it kind of looks like an Xbox Series S with the design of the big black circular grill right there on the top. But the idea being, they put together a little mini PC in this custom 3D printed case, and it will be running their own custom Arch Linux distro, where they're targeting 4K gaming, yes, using FSR, so 4K 60, but of course, with advanced upscaling to get there. And it's optimized for couch gaming. with like this big console-like interface. You think of what we get out of SteamOS, right, here for their Arch Linux distro. Now, the specifications they have on their website, which you have to hunt for them a little bit because they give you like a general, like, oh, it has 6 cores for the CPU, you know, that kind of thing. Okay, it's a Ryzen 5500, 6 cores, 12 threads, 16 gigabytes of, get this, DDR4 memory. Clever, by the way. You don't, for something like this, you wouldn't necessarily, people won't be able to tell the difference between DDR4 and DDR5. I will say that, so it makes sense, get a little cheaper for the build. And the video card, though, AMD 9060 XT, 16 gigabytes of VRAM. So we know in the Steam machine it has 8 gigabytes of VRAM. Yes, this system is more capable by I'd say a fair amount than the Steam machine at this point. A 512 gigabyte SSD, it has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in, and it comes with an 8BitDo Ultimate 2 controller. Okay, so with all of that said, the price point, $1,179. And people were looking at this like, oh, okay, that's not bad. That's actually kind of expected for that price point. But the thing is, I see people guessing at the Steam machine price to be $1,000 or more. And then here comes a system that, for context, when you get above 8 gigabytes of VRAM for a lot of these different video cards, you can look up listings yourself on eBay or other places. That's when the price really jumps to the next level. So when I look at this and then I look over at the Steam machine, I do feel a little more comfortable saying that the Steam machine could be coming in at a price point of $700. And part of that is, I mean, obviously there's a bit of a jump here again from the capabilities of this Playnix system versus the Steam machine, but also Valve, the way that they would be able to go about this, they have in terms of scalable builds and economy stuff behind the scenes to be able to create these things. Valve would have access, I'm sure, to more vendors and be able to shop around a bit more with more volume than Playnix, as they are kind of building these in batches. So it's certainly not on the level of operation that Valve has right now. So seeing this, I was like, oh, okay, we might be all right here with the Steam machine. We'll see. Although, again, some were hoping it'd be a $500 system. I'm still thinking between $700 and $800. And right now I'm kind of leaning closer to $700 from what we're seeing. But hopefully Valve starts talking soon. Things are moving behind the scenes a bit. And also, I think, again, when the Steam machine is ready to finally be discussed and price reveal, I kind of think that Half-Life 3 reveal is there too. And that's something people have forgotten about a bit or put to the back of the mind. Keep an eye out for that, because that would be a fun day online. Next up, let's talk about Microsoft with Game Pass, as the price was dropped yesterday. Yeah, like they actually lowered the price on the subscription service for Game Pass Ultimate, and then also Game Pass PC. Ultimate went down to $23. On the PC side, they dropped it to the $13.99. But people looked at it and said, oh, that's cool. What's the catch? The catch is that they are removing Call of Duty from the service. And people didn't really seem to mind as much. So, I mean, that's good. The difference here is they've now decided that you don't get Call of Duty. But what if you want Call of Duty in this service? Could you eventually go through and just choose maybe different options to build your own subscription service? Kind of like what you do with your cable bill. There's just the whole thing of cutting the cord. It's like, I don't need all these options and picking stuff now. Well, we're kind of coming back around with these subscription services then. But this was something that was pointed out by Windows Central. Jez Corden had this in his report, saying Microsoft sources tell me that the longer term goal for Xbox Game Pass is to make it more flexible. A sort of pick your own plan formula for Xbox Game Pass is on the cards, essentially, where users can effectively decide what packages of content they want to see as part of their plan. And, you know, I was reading this, I said, that sounds complicated, but what right now is my big complaint about Game Pass Ultimate is that there are things in there I don't use that I would remove to lower the price. So Fortnite is the big one. I'm like, I don't play Fortnite, this perk package for this battle royale game. It does nothing for me. So it feels like a waste. And if that's the case, then I can go, okay, uncheck that box, and now throw Call of Duty back in, and the price is maybe a slightly more, because apparently Call of Duty is worth $7 a month for Game Pass. But like, you get the idea. You can remove stuff. Maybe I don't really care about the Ubisoft Classics games. I can remove those, and maybe I can eventually get the price down to where it is just the first party games, and it's like $15 a month. Then, okay, that seems more reasonable. And on their end, they can probably get a lot of data, by the way, seeing what people find valuable with the service and the subscription, and even start to sunset aspects that people just are not using at all. Again, though, they have to streamline it because if it gets too complicated, that's going to put people off immediately from sign up. It's already kind of annoying to go through all the steps of signing up, but then you get to all these different pages of having to check things, or it tries to ask you what your interests are so it can decide what package is right for you. Those don't usually go over too well in the sign up process for prospective subscribers, but let me know what you would keep for Game Pass or what you get rid of if you could drop the price down. Are you someone that would use the Fortnite stuff? Would you keep Call of Duty in? Let me know. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about another canceled project that's been reported coming from Ubisoft. And we can see, this is over on Insider Gaming, saying Ubisoft's in-development game Alterra has officially been canceled. Alterra was a social sim game inspired by Animal Crossing. The game featured a voxel art style and mechanics similar to Minecraft, where players could build what they want with gathered materials. Images seen in the past by Insider Gaming show Matterlings, which are like the NPCs in the game, and they look similar to Funko Pop characters. The world consisted of different biomes that housed unique creatures and materials to meet, fight, and gather. I know some of you out there are like, oh, life sim, who cares? Throw it away. This is on to better things. But it's hard to deny, some of these life sim games have been working pretty well. Sure, Animal Crossing, obvious inspiration, it's pointed out by Insider Gaming. But then also look around right now at Tomodachi Life. We're going to see sales numbers for that, by the way. I think it's going to be more than some people are expecting. Like, that is, I think, an easy 10 million plus seller. And again, that seems shocking to people. Look what's happening with Pocopia. And yes, I know, that has Pokemon attached to it. Pokemon's in the title. But there were many of us, myself included, who kind of wrote it off a bit and like, what else they got? Where's Gen 10? So I'm seeing these life sim games that are doing pretty well. They're a bit more streamlined, and they say, okay, Minecraft-esque, has Animal Crossing inspiration. That seems like that probably would have done okay, or I think it would have been at least had enough of a chance to get to the finish line and release and then kind of decide from there. But it's hard to say how much longer it would have been before it came out, because we've seen games, yes, get canceled when they're right up against release, but then also some where we think it's almost out and then they're like, oh yeah, I had another 3 years and $40 million or something to release. So we still need more information as to what happened here and why Ubisoft decided to cut ties with this game. I guess the good news is, according to Insider Gaming, no one's been laid off from this cancellation, and basically all the developers there went into a pool of availability. So if the next Assassin's Creed game needs help on environments or something, they can, I guess, recruit some of these people in and maybe get Splinter Cell remake out at some point. Maybe they can recruit people there, because that's still out there somewhere. Hey, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Might as well go ahead and grab the entire Alterra team to work on that so they can get that thing out by like 2034. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, will Nintendo make a digital-only Switch 2 system this generation? Okay, 63% say no, 37% say yes. I saw some people say, hey, what would be the point of that exactly? It's just the cartridge slot. Here's the thing. If the system itself, like the Switch 2, has no cartridge slot, what does Nintendo know you have to do then to get games? You have to buy them from them. Like, it's coming from their digital store. And yes, you can buy those download cards in different stores, but I feel like most people would probably just buy it right then and there on the eShop app that's on their Switch 2. And it would cut down, yes, on physical buying, but for Nintendo, that would be a good thing, because it costs more money with cartridges and having to, and all the logistics of getting these games out the store shelves. Nintendo's admit that themselves, the digital games are just cheaper by $10. So the idea of a digital-only Switch 2 system, as what I think, again, is going to be the purchasing skewing more and more digital with some of these pricing decisions, would be to pushing that over the edge and be able to subsidize it further, which means they would be able to release it cheaper. Like, they might even lose money on the system when it first comes out, but they would know we're going to get more money in the long run, because like you're not buying a used game, basically, like for this system. So that would really be, I think, the reasoning in order to go that route. Make the system cheaper and then keep the customers coming back to you specifically. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Just You, says, I'm so glad they're not doing Breath of the Wild era Link. I'm so burnt out from this era of Zelda. Yeah, I know for Nintendo's point of view, this current era of Zelda with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is the most popular the franchise has ever been, which means It's also the most recognizable Link probably to just like the general audience. So I am kind of glad they did not go that route because it seems like it would be the safe route to go. And I think just with the next game, I'm ready to do something new, something different. We've had the current era of Zelda, the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, that Link, that world, for more than 10 years technically from when they first revealed it, but more than 9 years, obviously, since it came out at the beginning of 2017 alongside the Switch one. So yeah, I hear you. I'm kind of burnt out on it too. I'm ready to see what's next for The Legend of Zelda. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll leave it up here in a card. Or maybe you wanted to hear more about that Xbox Game Pass price drop along with some of the catch, I guess, with that and what that could mean for Microsoft going forward. I did an entire video on that and I'll leave it right below. Thanks guys for watching and I'll see you next time.